Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Welcome back. We are now into our third week of Halal Bantz, where me and Nooreya catch up.
Yes.
And we see what has happened in the world, our world.
Yeah.
So, Nooreya, how's the week been?
It's been okay. Alhamdulillah. I got some good. Well, I actually got 2 bits of good news this week, so I suppose I should say it's been better than good, really. So first of all, I got my official ADHD diagnosis through.
Oh, alhamdulillah. I know you've been waiting a long time for that.
Well, obviously it's been years worth of research, years of not knowing to begin with, and then years worth of research and months of investigations and all sorts. But I now finally have an answer for so many things. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And then I got a second bit of good news, where I'm in the process of claiming for PIP because of my fibromyalgia.
Okay.
It's not something I ever thought I would do, but I need that legal recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going through that process, that's a bit of a strange one. But yep, I got a text to say that that's in the hands of the medical guys.
Okay.
So alhamdulillah, that's working too. So things are moving forward.
Alhamdulillah. I know you've been like very, very passionate about like your struggles and you know what is going on literally up there.
Yeah.
Like you fought for it you fought against it and then you fought with it and now you fought for it, and it's been a long time.
Oh yes.
Like some of the stories I know you've told me, and like literally now you've got to this point where you're now absolutely vindicated. Like it's there. It's like an official document to say, well, yes, I have ADHD.
Oh yeah. Like when I finally saw that report and I saw the official diagnosis, like I literally sat there and cried.
I know,
it was just like
I got the voice message.
Yeah, it was just like to finally have that answer, the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. It was, like you said, it's that vindication. It's knowing that I was right all this time, that there was just something. And then to find out to such a degree how bad it was, I was like, I knew it was bad, but damn.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, now I know what it is. Now I know what my test is. I can work with it better. I can deal with it better.
Yeah.
So inshallah. But yeah, it's just about working with it now rather than constantly working against it.
Yeah. Like you know now that once you've got clarification as to now you have ADHD, like you said, you can work with it. It is quite literally I now have a full understanding of what I have. Because
not a full understanding, because obviously there's so much, but I at least have a name for it and I can look into it and I can build tools to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's basically, I think for you, the whole point being is you convinced yourself that you had it. No one else would believe you. But now someone else is telling you, I'm giving you an official document to say that you have it. Like it's outside, basically, it's an outside point of view.
Yeah.
And someone's agreeing with you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, but it is like kind of like, yes, alhamdulillah, like someone else knows, someone official. Do you know what I mean? Like an actual doctor, someone who can diagnose me with ADHD. Not, you could just go up to any Tom, Dick and Harry in the street and say, I've got ADHD. And they'd be like, well, okay. Yeah, but an actual doctor, like an actual doctor is.
Oh, I had multiple doctors, consultants, all going, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It was just like every time I saw a doctor or consultant about the fibro, it's like it would come up about the ADHD and they're like, yeah, definitely got on that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. Especially with the link between neurodiversity and fibromyalgia. Like there is a link between them. So it was just like, that's what helped us get to the fibro diagnosis quicker as well. It's such a minute connection, but it is there.
I know, it's so weird. Like I was telling you this morning, and I'll be telling the viewers as well, like there's a person I speak to in the gym and she is now, I don't know how old she is because we don't talk on that type of level, but she's convinced that she's got ADHD as well. So it's amazing how many people could possibly have it, but not realize that they have it.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the time the traits of ADHD are either so small, so they go unnoticed. And a lot of the time, by the time you get to adulthood, you've almost come to the conclusion that I'm just lazy, or I'm just always running late,
Okay.
or I'm just always messy, or like you've either masked to such a degree that you haven't realized that that's your innate trait, or you've already figured out ways to kind of deal with it, so it doesn't impact you so much. In the sense that you actually feel the need to do anything about it. It doesn't feel like a problem. It just feels like that's you. That's your personality.
Yeah. I get you.
It's like, for me, like, I probably could have gone the rest of my life without actually getting that official diagnosis. The only reason I did was because obviously I changed jobs, and it then showed me, hang on a minute, it does actually impact me. I just was in different environments that I'd never really noticed the huge impact it had. But then when I look back and I break it down, I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, I just couldn't see it, because to me, that's just my life. That's just the way I am. I've had it my entire life. I don't know any different. I don't know that people think different to me. It was only once I started watching like the TikToks and stuff during lockdown, and I was just like, huh, that sounds like me. Oh, I do that. And it was just like, there were just too many that I was ticking boxes for, and I was just like, okay, maybe there is a reason behind it. And it's alhamdulillah, I was in a position where I could almost fast track it. Obviously, with the private, I got very, very lucky because of my job, but it's so difficult to get that diagnosis, especially as an adult. The amount of like childhood evidence I had to give, and I think that's the hardest thing at the moment for most people, is they don't really have that evidence as children, or like they don't know, if that makes sense. There's not enough awareness about it, and I think it's more coming out now, but it's still taking time. I think that's why there's so many more people getting diagnosed or realizing, because the information's out there more. Like I said, I didn't see it until it was TikTok. Like, TikTok taught me. TikTok's taught me a lot, to be fair. But yeah, it's just, so yeah, it's been a really good week. Like, just having that confirmed, the fibro stuff ongoing, like it's just, things are moving forward, alhamdulillah. And I'm just like constantly like thanking Allah, like every 5 minutes, like something else will come up and I'm just like, ya Allah, thank you. Like, and that's the biggest thing, like I am constantly trying to remind myself, no matter what happens, everything happens because of Allah. So it's like, even if I've done something to make something happen, it's like, always make sure you give him his dues. Always pay him his dues.
Of course.
And it's just like, because he made it happen. Especially like the things that I've made dua for. I'm like, he's made this happen for me. He's made this possible. So yeah, it's been a really good week.
It's always the little subtleties, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's the little things.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how about you? How's your week been?
No, alhamdulillah, it's been good. I had a bit of a scare moment actually, where my cousin, I don't know the specifics of what happened to him, but apparently he was suffering from shortness of breath. He went to the shop. He was complaining at first, and then he went to the shop and he had to sit down there for a little while. I mean, the shopkeeper, it was so bad, the shopkeeper pulled out a chair, his own chair.
Oh, wow.
You know, to help him sit down. I heard an ambulance was called, but he kind of didn't want to go to the hospital at the time. And then that night, he went back home, and he couldn't sleep, and he was suffering from shortness of breath. And I think it got to a point where he felt like he couldn't breathe. So that was when he called the ambulance, and he went to the hospital, and he was there for a couple of days. But I mean, that's part and parcel of the story. Alhamdulillah. What I think the moral of this story is that, but it was just nice to see him like genuinely come to the faith. Like the way, like we had a conversation, and I think it was his wake up call, and that for me was beautiful. That that was like, alhamdulillah, you know, someone who's born Muslim is actually coming and trying to practice their deen. And he, like, for me, in my eyes, from what I can see, he is genuinely trying to make an effort. Like, genuinely, he's trying to make an effort. And I will help him. Like, if he ever calls me and asks me, you know, I will try to help him the best way I can. And in whatever capacity I can. But no, you know, I went to see him, you know, alhamdulillah, I've always had a decent relationship with him. I've always had a decent relationship with him. I can't speak for some of my other family members, but I know, like, he's never really peed me off and I've never really peed him off.
Yeah.
Like, so we've always kind of had this decent, it's a very, I don't know, it's a very weird dynamic, but it's a decent relationship. It's not like, you know, he's never held a grudge against me, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was just, alhamdulillah, it was just good to have a really in-depth conversation with him. I think the beautiful thing was I didn't need to say too much. He was the one that was coming out with it. He was like, I genuinely need to work on myself.
Well, that's the only way it can happen. It has to come from within. You can't, like, it doesn't matter how many people say to you, you need to change, you need to do this, you need to do that, you should do this, you should do that. It's human nature to go against what other people tell you to do. Like, I am the first one to say, like, it is innate in me. Like, as soon as someone tells me to do something, my instinct is to say no and do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Just because I'm stubborn and I'm against authority. But that's besides the point. But it's that innate thing to just go against what people tell you what to do. So it has to come from within you to want to change. And I think, like, for me personally, the only person or the only thing that can tell me what to do is Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Up until when I found Islam, no one could tell me what to do. No one could give me rules to follow. I did what I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted. To obviously within the limits of the law, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really have to. I was just like, I can do what I want. There was no restrictions. Whereas, and if then anyone tried to put restrictions, like, people will tell you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't drink, it's bad for you, you shouldn't do this, it's bad for you, and you're like, yeah, whatever, everything's bad for you.
Yeah.
But it's like, whereas when I came to Islam, and it's just like, you read the Quran, it's like, oh, that's why it's bad for me. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And plus, the creator of everything is telling you to do it, so okay, I'll do it. Fine. Like, there's no question, it's just I'm doing it. But yeah, so when it comes to him, it's just like it had to come from him, and obviously that's where Allah's planning comes into motion, effect, because it's like he plans, he is the perfect planner.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so I think for a lot of people who stray or are outside of the religion, the people he wants to bring in, he will call them in some way.
Back. Yeah.
Like, obviously, I had my wake-up call, my accident that kind of put me on the path towards Islam. And for him, it was the breathing scare, the health scare. And it's just like, oh, I actually need to step up, because it's like that reminder of death. Like, you only have so much time on this earth. Yeah. And when you have that reminder of how mortal we are, when we have that reminder of just how fragile we are, we need something bigger. And we also realize, okay, we could go at any point, like the next bit. Yeah. Like, what happens after that? Like, I need to do something now, because that day could come at any moment. So yeah, like, alhamdulillah, like, the fact that was his wake-up call and it worked, like, alhamdulillah, like you said, like, even if I can help in any way, obviously I will. Like,
yeah.
Because I find sometimes it's easier to hear from someone else rather than family. Yeah,
it is.
Someone outside of family, like, because you kind of, when it comes to family, you already have preconceptions, regardless of how much you respect a person or like a person or trust a person. it's still like, oh, but they're just family.
They're just family. Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly that.
Whereas when you hear it coming from outside as well, it's almost like, oh, okay, it's not just them. Yeah. Okay. And it gets that ball rolling. Your viewpoint
kind of changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of it's an easier pill to swallow when it comes from someone else. Rather than someone close to you, I think. Yeah. Sometimes.
It is. It is because, like, you know, the experiences, like, we talk a lot, we hang out a lot. And auntie, like my auntie will tell me something, or I say auntie, I know you call her auntie as well, but she'll tell me something and then you'll tell me the same thing, and then it hits home harder because it's like, right, you know, you're not family. You kind of are in a way because you're my best friend, but you're not blood.
Yeah, it's different coming from someone.
It's different coming from you because you say it as it is. For me, it kind of takes the sting out of it. Because when it comes from auntie or like a parent, then it's a bit personal.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more hurtful because it's like there's that little stab because you know you've messed up somewhere along the way.
Yeah, exactly that.
Something like that. So it's like when you're getting G-checked by family, it sucks.
Yeah.
Because it kind of hurts. It's an emotion. There's an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes from outside, there's not so much of an emotional attachment. It's more of a logical one. You're more likely to think it through rather than feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's one thing I've very much been learning what to do. Instead of feeling what people are saying to me, I need to think about what people are saying to me. So it's like, if I get any criticism, not focus on the criticism itself, but focus on what it is people are trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're always late. Okay, so what you're trying to tell me is you don't like that I'm always late. I will try. But it's just in my nature. I'm apologize. Like, there's ways around it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of us, we're so quick to go, oh, you just, and we want to argue back.
Yeah.
And it's like, whereas when it comes from outside, we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense. Because like you said, there's no emotional connection there to be like, to get your feelings hurt.
No, subhanAllah, it is. It's weird how the mind works, honestly.
Oh yeah,
it's so weird how, like, you won't listen to. Well, of course you listen to your parents, but sometimes when you think you're like you said, being G-checked.
Yeah.
But then you listen to like someone outside the family who are literally saying the same thing, but maybe wording it different.
Oh yeah. And how many times have I said something to you the first time around, and then you hear it from someone else, and then you go, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "I literally said that."
I told you that 3 weeks ago.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, I know."
It's happened so many times. It's happened so many times. Happened so many times.
But I think you're starting to realize my instincts are good.
No, I do listen to you a lot more now. Like, you have to admit, I do listen to you a lot more.
To be fair.
Whenever, because I know you and your intuition, and it was almost like, I'm not even tooting her horn here, but it is almost always bang on. And this is now why I listen to you, because I'm like, okay, like, look, I've messed up in some situations, and I'm like, right, how the hell do I get out of this? But alhamdulillah, look, I've listened to what you've said, and nothing has gone wrong. So,
inshallah, it doesn't.
Inshallah, it doesn't go wrong. But I've kind of listened to you once you told me about your intuitions and stuff, and how I started to see how, like, oh, hang on a second, she was right. But yeah, I went and did the opposite thing, and then I messed up. And then how could I come to you and say, oh, I messed up, man? Yeah. And what can you say at that point? I told you so.
Yeah.
I told you so.
It's like every time I give you that specific look, and you're like, yeah, I know. I don't even actually have to say the words I told you so.
Yeah, because you just give me that look, and I'm like, or you used to anyway, and I'm just like, yeah, I shouldn't have listened, man. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why I always say, like, and I always tell you, I always tell everyone else, and I'm telling you guys as well, you need a revert in your life, man. even like, like when I'm like, I bigged you up to TJ so much. Like, I bigged you up to, he was like, I cannot wait to meet her. And I'm like, bro, get a revert as you. Well, actually, no, one of his friends is a revert. Jamaluddin. Yeah, he's a Oriental fella. Yeah, Jamaluddin, yeah. He's a nice dude. But No, subhanallah. Has there been any highlights of your week?
Honestly, it's just been an overall very chilled week. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I had the ADHD fibro things going on, so they're pretty much highlights in themselves.
Mm.
It's been one of those very calm weeks. Obviously, it's been half term, so been very much chilling, spending time with family, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love spending time with my family, even if at the moment I am a whole different person, or not a whole different person, but I feel like I am.
Yeah.
When I'm with them. Inshallah, that will change in the near future. But at the end of the day, like we've said before, Allah has His plans, and I'm just along for the ride. So
we all are.
Yeah, exactly. I put my total trust in Him. So yeah, it's just it's just been a very nice, very chilled week, and alhamdulillah, it's just been very nice.
Alhamdulillah.
What about you? Any highlights specifically?
I've got so many to talk about, but I think one in particular, I think the best one is my aunt moving.
Alhamdulillah.
And obviously you know about that because you were there and you helped. But it's something I kind of don't want to get into now. But alhamdulillah, look, auntie's moved out of the house. It was a bit of a toxic situation. It was a bit of a toxic situation, very nasty. And like we can both see now, she's like total peace of mind.
So much happier. Like, mashallah.
Yeah, like she's full of spirit now.
Yeah. You know? She's a whole different woman. And it's strange because obviously I've known her through the whole toxic situation.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this change in her. And I'm like, this is the woman you've described to me.
Yeah.
That I haven't had a real opportunity to see properly because of the whole situation. And now, and obviously I already loved Auntie before this point, but now that I get to see her true character and that spirit in her, it's just like, wow, alhamdulillah, mashallah, it's lovely to see. And
no, it is, alhamdulillah. Like,
it shows just how much an environment can impact your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, just everything. Like, your environment is so important.
Yeah, I know. It was, you know what, it really did, like, and I'm not an angry person. You know me.
No, you're very calm. Like, I always say you're the calm to my storm. Because I'm the one that's
super patient, super calm. But like some things that she would call me and tell me, and she would always apologize to me. And I felt so bad because I was like, Auntie, don't ever say sorry. Like, if I'm the only person, like, imagine like you've got so much family and the person that you're venting to is your nephew.
Yeah.
You can't vent to your sisters. You can't vent to anyone else. You call your nephew to vent to him. Like, and I know that we've gone, because our relationship, like I've told you before, like even these past 4 years, our relationship has become quite literally like this.
Yeah.
She's like my second mother and I'm like her son. Alhamdulillah, like I hope that doesn't change, you know?
Inshallah.
But it was just, like, she moved from a different country to get away from that type of situation.
Yeah.
And then she came here and it was the same situation.
It was like out of the frying pan into the fire.
Exactly that. And it used to infuriate me when she used to call me and she used to tell me this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. And I used to be like, subhanallah, you know, like, alhamdulillah, call me and vent. But when this is happening to you, like you know, I know there were some things that I said to you that I would do, and you saw the anger and you saw that almost rage.
Yeah.
And you were like, hold on. Like, people, like, anger, sometimes it does get the best of me and it will get the better of anyone, but
you're human.
I'm human and this is happening to my family member.
Yeah.
You know, and the worst thing is it's done by another family member.
Yeah.
So quite literally, it would infuriate me to a point where I'm, you know, like I said, I would come and tell you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. This is what I'm going to do. And you would say, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Like, think this through. Like, who will suffer because you don't live there? You know, if you do this,
think about the consequences.
Think about the consequences. And not only are you causing harm to someone who is a family member, but they may in turn harm your family member or your auntie. So I really
Every
had to
action has an equal and opposite reaction.
So in that way, I used to always check me, and I'm like, okay, I just have to be patient. I have to be patient. I have to be patient. But then, like, I would watch like a lecture, and it was like, you know, like some verse, like there are verses, you know, there are ayat in the Quran which says that stand up against oppression, even if it's happening in your own family.
Yeah.
And I would always say this to myself, and I would always promise myself, like, if auntie calls me, I'm going to go and act. I'm going to go and act. But something would always tell me, not yet. Now is not the time, you know, because it's gone on this far. And if you had to have done something, you should have done it at the time. But it's gone this far now that no one has said anything. No one has done anything. We're almost at the finish line. Just hold off until everything is done and dusted, and then you can do something. So it like really used to get to me. And what like sometimes I could not sleep. Like I couldn't sleep because I'm like, what is this? This is happening in my own family.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you see injustice across the world. Like let's face facts. You see injustice absolutely everywhere. But when it's in your family, like it hurts to another level.
Well, yeah, it becomes so much more personal. It's that, like, you can see it happening and you're still just as, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, incapable of doing anything.
Yeah.
Even as close to home as it is, as if it was happening across the other side of the world. Like, you're still just as helpless. Like, because yes, you can get involved to some degree, but like you said, it has that ripple effect. There could be other things that are happening behind the scenes that need to happen that may get interfered with. Like, Allah is the best of planners. Like, everything happens for a reason. And it's like, sometimes, especially in the bigger events in our life, we have to just stop and think for a second, what would Allah want me to do in this situation? Like, is this going to cause more harm than good? And that's, to me, is always that question. Like, am I going to cause more fitna in the family? Or is this going to solve it? And like you said, like, it was that just hold off till the finish line. Because it was like that would have caused issues. But now it's like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But like I think I talked about this with you, and I talked about it with other family members as well. And I said, imagine on that day when we're resurrected and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows you like what happened, and he says to you, there was injustice and there was oppression, and this person was so close to you. Why did you not do anything about it? That is like the biggest regret I would probably have.
I think for me, like, that's where I come back to that thought process of what would Allah want me to do? Would I cause more harm than good? Go through an entire process, and the same process for every scenario. So that when it comes to that day, when he asks me that question, I can say, well, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did it with the best intentions, and I did it with as much of your guidance as I had access to at the time. And I did everything within my means at that time to try and do my best. And all I have to do is have hope in his mercy.
Yeah.
That he will accept that. He may tell me that there was another way for it to have been done, because obviously I'm not perfect. I'm human. But all I can do, any of us can do, is try our very best and ask for forgiveness when we fall short. That's what we're here for. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be imperfect and to ask forgiveness for that fact.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
And then, like we said, there's only so much you can do, so you have to look at the whole picture. And it's like, you did the things you could do. You helped Auntie as much as you could within your capacity, just to be there for her, to be that confidant, to help her in ways that she wasn't getting that help at the house and things like that. You did all these bits and pieces, So when the time comes, you can say, I did what was within my means and what I thought was the best thing to do in that situation. And if I had more that I could have done, or if I had known a better way, I would have done it. But please forgive me if I had done this wrong.
Yeah, I suppose you could. I suppose, yeah, you are right. But I think the whole situation was unique in a sense that,
oh yeah,
obviously I've told you about said person, and that person would be like, "This is none of your business. Why are you getting involved?"
Well, yeah, but a lot of people feel that way when it comes to personal stuff. And at the end of the day, you've got to leave those sort of people to
Yeah,
it.
you got that was like the biggest stumbling block for me. Like, you know, getting involved in that way and going in guns blazing, what would that achieve? Would I even feel better if I did that? Like, and I really had to think about it. I was like, if I go in there effing and blinding and guns blazing and, you know, saying the worst imaginable things that I could say to this person, how is that going to make me feel better? How is that going to speed up the sale of the house? How is that going to change the mindset of that person? It's not. It's going to make them even more angry. You know, and then who is that person going to take it out on? They're going to take it out on my auntie. So I really, really had to, like, it was that inner turmoil I had. I was like, on one side, I can do something about it, but will it make me feel better? And then who's going to suffer? And then on the other side, it was like, Allah tends us to stand against oppression and injustice, but I feel like I'm not doing enough. Like, okay, yeah, me and auntie, we have a good time and we go shopping and we talk a lot. And, you know, whenever she needs to vent, she calls me and we have really long conversations about what just happened and what the next step would be. And I always used to tell her, have sabr, like have patience, because this is what Allah tells us in the Quran. Have patience, just have patience, have patience, have patience.
But that's the thing. It's you've given her guidance. You've done things to make her happy. You've done things to try and make her feel loved and supported. You've done so many things that Allah tells us to do. And you've done all of that and more. So it's like, yes, there's one little passage that you're so fixated on,
Yeah,
but
that's
you've
the
done
problem.
so much more.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You're so fixated on that one thing, but there are so many other things he tells us to do and so many things he tells us not to do. Like you said, if you went in there all guns blazing, you're then shouting, effing and blinding.
Yeah.
You're getting emotional. You're being aggressive towards another Muslim, let alone another family member. It would then cause fitna in the family, which we are told not to do.
Yeah.
It would cause fitna in the ummah, let alone family.
Yeah.
Which we're told not to do.
Yeah.
We're told not to backbite. We're told not to do this, not to do that. So all of the things you're avoiding doing by not going and doing it are blessings in themselves.
Yeah.
So you're doing all the things you should be doing.
It's so difficult though.
Of course it is.
It's so difficult.
That's the point.
And I know that, like,
because that voice that's going, you should go and have a go at her, that's shaitan.
Yeah, I know, you're right. And I know there's sometimes, like I said, you had to check me. And like you would give me a look like when I was out of order. And I knew straight away, hang on a second, you know that this is haram. You know I shouldn't be doing it. And I knew that look, like, don't just
like you're
stop.
about to cross a line.
You're about to cross, just stop. And I knew that look. And then when I saw you like look like that, I was like, hang on a second, you're practicing your deen and I'm not. At this point in time, how can I call myself a Muslim if I'm saying these things? But you know me, I'm logical. I'm a very logical person.
Oh yeah.
But that
family makes you crazy.
It used to make me so emotional.
And that's the thing. Our family are our biggest tests on this earth.
You're right. Yeah.
They are there to challenge us because we can be the best of humans out in public for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for an hour.
Yeah.
But when we're back home and we're with our family who we feel safe and secure with, they're the ones that we are fully ourselves with and we let our guards down.
Yeah.
Who we are in those moments determine who we are. And it's like, if you can unleash that level of aggression or anything on someone, that is you.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it only happens once in a blue moon or not, you are capable of that. You need to learn when to bring it back down. Like, no, this needs to either be a logical conversation where we come to an agreement, or I need to walk away from the situation. You need to do the Islamic thing.
No, I get you. I get you. And it was almost like I told you. It's funny because I was telling you these things like last year. Like you were surrounded by kind of Fir'auns. And then little did you know, but a family member who I love the most was also around a Fir'aun, but yet it used to affect me. And look, let's not get it twisted. Like I am surrounded by Fir'auns as well, but I deal with that in my own manner.
Yeah.
You know? And they don't make me emotional. They upset me a bit, you know, but not to a point where
there's different degrees, isn't there, of like what affects you.
Yeah.
You're either like slightly frustrated or very angry.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of different levels in between.
Yeah. So they keep me on that plane of slightly frustrated. I'm never like emotional, like I'm gonna come and I'm gonna
that's do purely for family members hold that top rank of emotional.
Yeah. It is so strange, like how people can just affect your mood.
But that's why you always need to make sure that you have people around you who are on their deen, because it's like even when you're at your lowest points and your iman's low, you can literally go to them and they can help keep you on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. They can do that for you. They can keep you on that straight path. They can help you. And then at some point or another, the tables are going to turn and they're going to feel low and they're going to need your help to build them up. And that's the whole point of being one ummah, is to want for your brother as you want for yourself.
You know, it's so funny you say this, because I was speaking, shout out to you, Asad. Asad said, look, bro, he goes, and he's talking about my situation now. Yeah. And he said, bro, 4 years ago, I was the fire and you were the water and you had to keep me cool. And he goes, look how 4 years has come about and you've become somewhat of a fire. Yeah. And I'm the one telling you, chill out, bro. Like, do things in baby steps. Don't go like full force. Otherwise you're gonna end up in a worse situation.
It's like, that's why, like, we're taught in the Quran, like, we need to keep ourselves humble, because at any given moment we could be the ones on the back foot. We could be the ones on the bottom rung of whatever. It could be financial, emotional, whatever it may be. At any given moment we could be at the bottom. Yeah. And it's like, so we need to remember to always stay humble. So even when we're at the highest of highs, we remember to always keep those blessings in mind, to remember where we've come from, where we're going, and who gave it to us in the first place. Yeah. And as long as we always pay those dues, then anything, even when that hardship comes, you know that things are going to get better, because with hardship comes ease. My ultimate favorite.
I know that's one of your favorites. Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just like, yeah, we just have to always remember to count our blessings and just remember, even when things are bad, they will get better. It's just how we conduct ourselves in the moment determines how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala views us.
No, alhamdulillah, I was watching a video the other day from, I can't remember what ustad it was. I think he's a Saudi Arabian. He's definitely from one of the Arabic countries. And he was talking about a situation that's going on in the world today. But he said, look at the prophets, peace be upon all of them. But I think he talked about three in particular, Nuh alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, and Ayub alayhi salam. And I can't remember the Nuh and Ayub alayhi salam, but the Musa one alayhi salam, I remember that one. And he was like, look, Musa alayhi salam was sent to Fir'aun from Banu Israel. And I can't even imagine like I said, we see injustice all around the world today, but the way that story is told in the Quran and from what I've read in tafsir and other books, like what those people went through was unreal. Like absolutely unreal. And when the help of Allah came, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came, it came where literally they thought they were at wit's end. This is it. We're finished. Like we've followed Musa alayhi salam to the Red Sea. There's nowhere to go. The sea's in front of us. We can't swim. We're going to drown. These people are coming up behind us. This is going to be a slaughter, you know? And at that point in time, when it was like all hope is lost, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came through.
But only because they turned to him.
Yeah, obviously, but they this is Banu Israel, so they always had that concept of La ilaha illallah, do you know what I mean? But it was then, like even Musa alayhi salam, you know, was like, don't worry, have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's gonna come through for us. He's gonna come through for us. You know, and at that point in time where it was like the cinch point where it was just like, now we're done. You know,
that's the thing.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala split the Red Sea.
Yeah, it's like, because that's the thing. Like, what would be the point of a test if it was easy?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it has to get hard.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It has to feel almost impossible. Otherwise, it's not a test.
Otherwise, it's not a test.
And our whole life is just a series of tests.
Yeah.
So Allah isn't just going to fix things for you once it just gets a little bit difficult and you're just like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Why would he get involved then? That's not a test.
That's not a test.
Like, yes, some people are tested with complete ease, but that's a whole different
kettle of fish.
Yeah. But everything is meant to get to the point of, I cannot do anything more. I am insignificant. Everything in this dunya is significant. The only one who can save me now is Allah.
Yeah.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
And the second you reach that point, that is when he answers.
Yeah.
Because that is when you are a true Muslim and you have complete full submission to him.
Yeah.
Because you have finally gone, do you know what? I have no control of this situation. There is nothing I can do to fix this. I need his help. And then when you call on him, he answers.
Yeah, I mean, and like...
Inshallah.
But, you know, Auntie was like literally at her wit's end. And, you know, I didn't live with her. And it could have got to a point where maybe she was thinking about doing something silly. You know, but then at that time, remember the story she was telling us? Like the people that were coming in, like they were really interested. And I thought, yeah, the house is going to be sold, or the house is going to be sold. And this is a story in itself. It was only when the Muslim family turned up, she was like, yeah, these people are not going to be interested, alhamdulillah. And they ended up buying the place. And then they ended up helping her move out too. They had a van.
An amazing family. And I've made dua for them since they've bought it. Like, I genuinely hope they do very well.
And remember what you said to her? Because she told us, remember?
Vaguely.
She said, Reza said to her, when they dropped all the stuff off at the flat, he turned around to my auntie and he said, you must have done something good in this life. And she was like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you had your nephew and the friend helping. And then, alhamdulillah, it was us that bought the house. And we
that we could be here to help you.
we could be there to help you.
Yeah.
And these were the people.
Massive help.
These were the people that Auntie was like, yeah, these people aren't going to buy the house. These people aren't even interested.
Yeah, because we don't know.
We just don't know. And
Allahu alam.
I thought that was mental. Like we don't. That story kind of hit hard. For
Literally,
me
Allah is the best of planners.
You never know who's going to come through for you.
Yeah, you cannot judge anyone at any time because you have no idea who that person could be. That is literally the true definition of do not judge a book by its cover.
No. But subhanallah, that is it for this week, guys. It has been an event-filled week. Inshallah, next week. This was quite a philosophical kind of conversation, wasn't it? This was a philosophical conversation. Inshallah, next week. I know I've got a lot to talk about. I know I've got a lot to talk about next week. But yeah,
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Click the bell notification if you want to know when we upload. Inshallah, we will be getting lots of other different bits of content out. It's been a bit of a hectic few weeks.
It's been a hectic few weeks.
But we are getting on it. Ramadan is around the corner. Inshallah, we all see it. We are doing a Ramadan countdown on TikTok, and we're adding a few more bits over there if you want to check that out. And next week, we are going to be at the London Muslim Shopping Fest, which we mentioned a couple of episodes ago. If you guys are going to be there and you spot us, come and say hello. But for now, we will leave it there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for checking in, guys. We hope to see you soon, inshallah. Take it easy.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Assalamu alaikum.